Bienvenue sur Métal Maniaques, un balado d'horreur Québec où je, sous-signé Kristof G, m'entretiens avec des métalleux tripeux d'horreur.
Métal Maniaques, épisode 49, chers Métal Maniaques. Ben oui, un troisième épisode de Noël, hein. Cette année, j'ai eu le goût de vous offrir trois épisodes bonus pour célébrer des films qui ont passé des gros jalons cette année. Donc, d'abord, puis avec mon pote Guillaume L'Espérance, qui n'est pas le producteur de Tout le monde en parle, ni du Bye Bye. Euh, donc, les épisodes du 23 et du 24 décembre étaient dédiés à des franchises qui ont eu 40 ans que j'aime d'amour. Je parle évidemment de Nightmare on Elm Street, Terminator, euh, et c'est quoi le troisième? Ah oui, Toxic Avenger. Ah, je l'aime un petit peu moins, mais je voulais souligner quand même cet anniversaire, puis quand même un film culte. Puis aussi, ben, un duo de films familiaux. Et, tu sais, pour vrai, là, qui a été pour moi là, un gateway là, euh, qui m'a ouvert la porte de l'horreur vraiment. Et je parle évidemment de Gremlins et de Ghostbusters, qui sont un peu des films de Noël, hein. On parle de Ghostbusters, le deuxième, ça se passe à Noël. Gremlins, ben ça c'est totalement un film de Noël. La thématique est là, ça se passe à Noël, on en parle, il y a des petits chanteurs, il y a des musiques de Noël, il y a de la neige. Donc, mais il y a aussi des films qui ont eu 50 ans. Puis je parle vraiment de classiques du cinéma de genre qui ont influencé légion de réalisateurs. Évidemment, bon, le classique canadien, Black Christmas, ça, c'est difficile de ne pas le réécouter à chaque Noël. 1974, donc 50 ans. C'est difficile de croire que 9 ans plus tard, Bob Clark, le réalisateur, a réalisé A Christmas Story. Hein? Vous vous rappelez de ce film-là? Moi, c'est un de mes classiques de Noël aussi. C'est totalement non horrifique, mais moi, je me le retape très, 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 très souvent. Mon film d'horreur préféré, je l'ai dit plein, plein, plein de fois, c'est The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, l'original de Tobe Hooper. 50 ans, donc ils ont fait un beau logo pour l'occasion. Il y a eu des produits dérivés, tout ça, des reissues. Ben, ce film-là, tu sais, moi, c'est vraiment un film parfait pour moi. Puis, ben, qui de mieux que d'inviter Gary Pullin, artiste émérite, qui a été longtemps chez Mark Magazine, qui est un métalleux notoire, qui a fait des posters pour Black Sabbath, qui a fait des posters pour Def Leppard, un paquet d'artistes métal, mais beaucoup de classiques, beaucoup de films. Donc, on a eu une belle conversation, moi et Gary, pour l'épisode du 25 décembre. Euh, Dernier de l'année, épisode 49. Donc, merci d'avoir suivi mes aventures cette année. Donc, en 2025, ben, je vous souhaite ben de l'horreur fictive, évidemment, ben des films, ben du métal, ben des concerts. Puis, ben, on se retrouve en janvier.
Oh wow, what a great Ozzy Osbourne shirt you have on.
Thanks, man.
Man, it's great to see you, Gary. Gary Pullin, great artist. If people don't know you, they should. I've been a fan for a while, since the early days of Morgue magazine. You're an awesome metalhead as well. So what more perfect for my Christmas episode that to have you on to talk about, two of my favorite movie of all time. Um, of course, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, and the great Canadian classic, influential classic from Bob Clark, Black Christmas. I thought of you because, of course, you have been connected. You love those movies, of course, but you have been lucky enough to work on those. So, we'll start with the TCM. Can you remember the first time you ever saw that fine 1974 film?
It's one of those rare times where I do remember the very first time that
Oh
I saw
yeah.
it.
Okay.
Because it is hard sometimes to think back
Yeah,
when you did see
definitely.
something for the first time. But this one, yes, I used to, hang around with a buddy in, grade 8, grade 9, maybe high school.
Hmm.
We both liked horror movies. Our dads were friends, so we became friends. And yeah, he really good guy. And so we would
What's his name? What's his name?
Sean Garris, actually.
Okay.
His father was a
Nice, Sean.
his father was a wrestler, like a teacher, a wrestling teacher in London,
Oh,
Ontario.
okay.
And so Sean became a wrestler. He also became like a UFC fighter. And
Oh,
anyway,
shit. Okay. Cool.
yes. But back in the day, we as kids, we hung out all the time, and we used to watch horror movies together. We'd go down to our local mom and pop video store.
Hmm.
After one parent note, we were able to rent just about anything we wanted. And basically, yeah, we rent TCM. It was one of the first movies that we watched. We'd watch him in his basement.
Mm.
And we didn't. I don't think my parents had a VHS player at that time. We did eventually get one,
Uh-huh.
but at that time, Sean was the only one that had one that I knew. So we rent these movies, and we watched it. I swear to God, on a 4-inch
Yeah, small.
camping
Yeah.
TV.
Oh
Like it
yeah.
just had a
Okay.
handle. The TV had a handle on it. Okay, like it was like a small
Yeah.
little TV. We watched it in his parents' basement,
And you
and
were really close to the screen like
we were
that.
really no, we were, and it was terrifying. Like it was the only way we could watch these movies at that time. So
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
we just worked with what we had, and
Yeah,
it was still like
of course.
I'll never forget how I thought it was like a documentary. Like it
Yep.
almost had that documentary feel. We had already watched maybe Nightmare on Elm Street and
Hmm.
Dawn of the Dead and movies like that,
Hmm. Hmm.
and those are very they're theatrical. They're
Yep.
they're they're they're
They have a
you can
budget.
tell they're fantasy action,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep. Hmm.
And horror, but like with TCM, I mean, this was a whole different ballgame, and
Yeah.
it was so dark. Like even the movie itself, when he's running in the woods,
Yep.
it just flashes of his face and eyes and the screaming. I just remember really being affected by that movie. And then I
Yeah.
would have to walk home by myself from his house back to my house when we were done watching these movies. And I'll never forget there used to be an area in between our houses that wasn't developed yet, and it was all just like a swampy
Oh
woods.
shit.
And
Scary
so
stuff.
that was the part I hated walking by.
Oh yeah.
I always felt like, thank God for the street lights, right?
Hmm.
I remember thinking, thank God the streets are lit because it's so scary. And I was what, like 12 or 13 years old, maybe
Okay,
14.
that young. Okay. I may have been like 15 or
Mm-hmm.
16 when I rented Massacre à la scie, the French title in Quebec.
Love it. That's a great case.
And the translation was made by people from here. It's not the same one that you find on the DVDs nowadays. So that
Okay.
this translation was lost. And I exactly like you, I thought it was real. The grain and the 16 millimeter, and it's like handheld in ways, and you feel like it's and also they tell you in the beginning that it is based on true facts. So
Yeah, the narration
you
is
buy
is
it.
just awesome. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, like I just remember totally being captivated by it. It's very little comedy in it. I mean, the cook is kind of funny. He has like this
Yep.
nervous kind of laughter going on.
Mhm.
You know,
Just black humor with the
right. It's
hitchhiker.
black
He's
humor,
weird
right?
and
Yeah, you're not really supposed to be laughing, right?
no, exactly.
And it's a movie that like we were used to like movies that were like Evil Dead 2, and
Hmm.
you see something like Chainsaw Massacre when you're very young or just beginning to watch horror movies, and you're like, okay, this is now in a category of its
Oh
own.
yeah, exactly.
This, yeah,
it's scary, it's shocking, and you got
Yeah,
a commentary also on on meat consumption and
yeah.
and you when you're curious, you watch all the documentaries and you go you dig further and you learn
Hmm.
about Ed Gein and
Yeah,
you
for
learn about
sure. It's
Toby Hooper as well
yeah,
and
right.
you and I probably I think I
Psycho.
yeah, totally. But I think I saw Poltergeist first because
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
that's the movie that traumatized me when I
That's a
was like,
great introduction movie for
oh yeah.
kids.
But at 6, maybe I was too young. I
Sure,
think
6 is young. We have a niece, and she's with us a lot, and we've been, she really loves horror
fostering.
movies. She's
Oh
getting,
yeah.
and we're like, okay, like we're trying to be appropriate, but
Hmm.
we're also like, she can watch Scream.
And
You know,
how old
she can
is
watch.
she?
She's 13 now.
13. Okay, yeah, yeah.
But like, so we're showing her like, nothing too crazy, but
But
like,
you started with what exactly? Like Gremlins,
yeah,
Ghostbusters?
yeah. We started with Monster Squad,
Yep.
Gremlins,
Hmm.
Jaws.
Yep. Hmm.
There's a couple, we just recently showed her, uh, okay, so she wanted to see Nightmare on Elm Street. And
Hmm.
so I said, okay, this one
Recently.
might be a
Okay.
level above some of the
Yep.
others,
Yep.
just so
Hmm.
you know, it's not Dracula in a cape. I felt like he was a little scarier when I was a kid, but
Yeah.
she watched it, she loved it, but she wasn't really scared
No? Okay.
at all.
Okay. She
She
was
wasn't
trained.
scared. Yeah, but she thought she thought the movie was really good, liked it.
Mhm.
But then the next movie we showed her was The Ring, the remake of The Ring.
Oh yeah, it works. Yeah, I
And
love
right
it.
off the
Yep, yep,
top,
yep.
she was snuggling with Nicole.
Oh
And
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like she
Uh-huh.
was right off the top, she was,
It went under her
yeah,
skin.
yeah. It got it like I swear to God, it was 2 minutes of the movie. She's like, okay, now I'm scared.
Yeah.
And whereas like some of the 80s movies, they're a little more, I guess, theatrical, a little more like
Slower paced as well.
sure, slower
Mhm.
pace does it, yeah, it takes a while to get to the punch sometimes,
Mhm.
whereas with like I guess something from the 90s or like beyond, the
More
editing,
snappy.
they
Hmm.
get there quicker.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so the tone of the ring is
Yep.
very scary too, like right off the
Hmm.
top she's relating to it
It's
probably a
serious
little
and
more,
yeah.
right, with the girls having a sleepover party, the
Hmm.
two girls there, so she loved it, right, and so
Yeah.
that one got her, that one she's like, and but afterwards she's not, there's no
No
problem.
nightmares
She's not
and
having trouble
no.
getting to sleep,
Okay,
and
okay.
oh,
That
none
that
of that. No, no, no.
that's good because my daughter,
She's very
she's tough.
yeah.
Because mine is she's in stuff she isn't tough at all. She's like a chicken shit a bit like
Sure, sure.
nightmares and all and
It's
she's
not for
like
everybody,
yeah 11 but I can't wait to show her like
for
movies
sure.
that I love.
Yeah.
I watched Gremlins with her and Ghostbusters. She loved the franchise and
Mhm.
the Indiana Jones got some scary bits.
Yeah,
The
yeah. I think
Temple
we
of
watched
Doom.
maybe Raiders with her already. Yeah,
Hmm.
there's some freaky stuff in there right at the beginning with the people. Like
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
remember seeing that movie when I was a kid, and I
Yep.
I absolutely loved it. And those
Yep.
scenes worked on me because you're not a jaded movie fan. You're just
No.
watching movies. You're not sitting there like thinking about lighting, and
Yeah.
the way
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
watch movies now as you and I as fans and people that like dig deep into how
Mhm.
they're made, we're watching it different now, so
Yeah,
it's
sometimes we're too analytical, and we know
sure,
when I write the reviews, of course, but I try to forget myself into the movie. I try to go
absolutely,
back
man,
to that
yeah,
that place
yeah,
when
yeah,
I.
you always try to just, okay, put the critic aside
Mhm.
and let's just watch this like someone's passion project, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, but yeah, and again, like I have a nephew as well. I can't wait to, he's a little younger, so but right now he's not watching movies. But when he's old enough, I can't
Uh-huh.
wait to introduce him to maybe one or two that'll, if it grabs him, great. If it
Mhm.
doesn't, great. That's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. I don't want to push it,
No,
to
no,
the kids, so
yeah,
they'll discover those classics, and when it's time. But go back to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Um, Are you the type of guy that needs to watch every sequel just to see where they will take the franchise and all? And are you that
Yeah,
masochist kind of guy?
yeah, for sure. I do. Every time there's a new sequel to announce to a franchise that I'm a fan of, yeah,
Hmm.
of course I've got to see what they do with it. I mean,
Hmm.
it's you know, I'm trying to think of one that I've actually totally ignored.
In the Texas
There's
Chainsaw
probably been a couple
franchise?
where I'm just like, you know what, I'm not even going to
Yeah.
go there because I know enough just
Yeah.
based on what I've heard. But like with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, again, I have a story the first time I saw the remake. And I was, at the magazine at the time. We were going to
Mhm.
the theater to cover it.
Mhm.
It was 10 a.m. screening. It was a
Oh
late
yeah.
10 a.m. screening,
Yeah.
and I just remember after it was done, I looked to my friend that was there, and I said, "You know what? That wasn't bad. It
Yeah. With
wasn't bad at
Were you
all."
with the garment?
I was with I can't remember who it was. It was I was with like a couple of the Rumoric folks, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
and
And I
I
was
just
scared about that movie because I felt that, you cannot touch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
that's what I thought too.
and
Yeah,
I was quite surprised as well. I was like, it's well done,
yeah,
production
yeah,
value is there, and
yeah.
it's more, again, snappy
And
editing and way more gore than I expected.
for sure. And I think they needed that for
Yep.
now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like they did need to put blood in it for now. But look,
Yep.
there's some artistic shots in the original, no question.
Yep.
There's some artistic shots in the remake as well, where he's dangling above the piano.
Mm-hmm.
That's all causing tension.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of horror movies have forgot to build tension. They just want to get right to the
Yeah.
gag. It's
Yeah.
like, no, I need a little, you need a little bit like of tension. And
Mm-hmm.
so
And they
I
try
feel
different
like
things as well. With the sheriff, Lee Army, he's amazing.
yeah, for sure. They had a good sheriff, right? You needed a good sheriff. You need a good sheriff in a TCM movie. And yeah, he was great. The family was great. Like I felt like they weren't trying to reinvent anything too much. They
Yeah.
had new characters. Like those original characters, you can't duplicate them, right? It's
Mhm.
like they tried that with Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy. Some of those characters that played those characters, the actors themselves are
Yeah.
entrenched in that
Yeah.
character. And so it's really hard to duplicate, the hitchhiker, right? It's really
Yeah.
hard to duplicate the cook.
But
So they
the
did it in a
itch.
way where they
Yeah.
came up with like other characters that were just equally kind of weird
Yep.
and off, and
Yeah,
they
that
just
fat
focused on
lady, the
Leatherface.
trailer, and
Yeah,
the different little things like that, and they really did well. And you talked about the hitchhiker in the second movie. It's the hitchhiker is like his brother or something, but Bill Moseley, I think
yeah,
he
again,
well like encapsulate or he got inspired by Ed Neal's performance, but he did it
yeah, but he made it his own,
exactly. So that
and
was
it wasn't
something
like okay,
else.
he's not the hitchhiker like when they first did
No.
that movie.
Hmm.
And but
So you
when you're a
like the
kid,
second one
you're
as
kind of
well?
expecting to see those same characters.
Yeah.
But and again, TCM2 is another movie
Yep.
that lives in a league of its own, right? It's in
Exactly.
its own lane because it really leans into the comedy aspect of it,
Hmm.
and which I liked as well. And but I will say when I was a kid with part two, I was excited to see Tom Savini's effects and all
Oh
this
yeah.
because I was reading about it.
Hmm.
And in Canada, that was one of the movies that was heavily censored when they released it in video stores.
Totally.
And it was so censored that to me, it makes it almost unwatchable. I'm sorry, but like a movie
It's
like
a
that
mess.
where it really the set pieces are the effects and then they
Hmm.
took them out. I was so like flabbergasted that it's like why am I reading it in a magazine
Yep.
but I can't see it on, you know what I mean? and
Hmm.
um and another movie was heavily censored too back then. Well, a couple, Day of the Dead, Romero's Day of the Dead,
Hmm.
heavily, that videotape that was here in Ontario was
Oh yeah.
laughable.
I think it was pretty much the same in Quebec.
Sure.
And
and
that
and and
movie got
also
some
Dead
real
Alive.
amazing special effects. So it's a
Right,
shame.
and all of that was gone when I remember thinking, man, this is disappointing. It because some of the effects do move the story, like
Hmm.
and again, that's what we're here for.
Hmm.
So you're taking everything I've come for out of the movie,
What's the
and
purpose
but
of
that was just
watching?
a really brief time in the
Yeah.
'80s in
Hmm.
Ontario, and now you can't even turn on like X or Twitter without seeing real, like X right now or Twitter or whatever it's called is like the grand guignol of
Oh
today.
yeah.
Like
I don't
it's
no.
war videos, it's real time death, and I'm like, wow, you can watch Jason stab somebody more than twice in a Friday the 13th film, but here I go on Twitter today, and I can just watch atrocity after atrocity. So anyway, but
Yeah.
that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
But
but it's it's true because today people are really I guess jaded about seeing horrible things, even real
it's
ones. But
become so desensitizing.
yeah, totally. But I want to see fake blood. I want to
Yeah,
see
yeah. I want to
special
see
effects.
the
I want to
movie.
be told a story.
Yeah, I want to see
Real
because
stuff.
it's artistry. It's I want to see the special
The
effects
craft.
artists do their thing.
Hmm.
I want to see the cinematographer do their thing. I want
Yeah,
to see the whole thing. Like
yeah,
I love movies. I love the art of them. I love like everyone has a task, everyone has a role, and
yeah.
to come together to make these things.
Hmm.
And now that things are, I guess, like censorship laws have gotten smarter. I think
Yeah,
they've gotten smarter
totally.
because we're being treated smarter, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they
uh,
understand it's an art piece, and you should let the
right?
director do their thing and
Yeah,
have
there's
their
limits.
vision.
Um, Going back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the
Yeah,
original, yeah,
uh,
certainly was a movie that had a huge impact on sort of my
the whole genre.
horror life or whatever you want to call it. And
That's my favorite horror movie of all time.
it's what it rotates in my top three. I mean,
Hmm.
it's always in my top three. There's always one or two that kind of that
Yeah,
depending
yeah.
on the day or the
Hmm.
year.
Yeah,
But TCM has always been up there just because of how it was a
special.
benchmark film, and
Totally.
just how different it is from all the others. Even after all these years, it is still in a
Effective.
league of its own.
Yeah, totally. And the music, it's really weird,
Minimal.
really experimental. You did no, I think the cover art you did for a soundtrack was for the soundtrack of documentary, right?
That's right. So the Shocking Truth documentary by Mark Fox, he did the music for that, and then Scareflare Records put out a re-release of that. And yeah, I was lucky enough to do the artwork for that. And
And it's
again, we
beautiful.
wanted to, we were trying to do it in a way where like we wanted to show that it's a TCM thing, but we're not showing characters. We're not,
Mhm.
we're trying to kind of be respectful of the licensing. And yeah, we just came up with something cool that kind of was reminiscent of the movie. And
And to work on
that's
something
exciting to do stuff like
connected to
that.
that franchise is pretty special for you, I guess.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. Like when I get a job like that, and then I actually just last year, well, it came out this October, but last year I got to work on the steelbook for the game.
Oh yeah, the game it's well done, huh? They really
Yeah,
did something great and
it
just
looks beautiful too. Like it is,
yeah, totally.
and they're so screen accurate. Like I mean, it's so incredibly accurate to the movie that. Anyway, so back then I was getting to see some fun stuff on some previews,
Oh,
and we
that's
came up
cool.
with a few concepts and landed on like it's like a chainsaw blade with the members of the game running around. Kind of, I wanted like an interactive poster too. Like I wanted to, sort of highlight that it's a game,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's also the movie. And then when they released the game on Steelbook, the movie came with it too.
Yeah,
So, and
that's
that's
pretty
super cool.
sweet.
I didn't know that was a part of it. But hey, like you know what? There it is. There's the connection, and I'm
Hmm.
just lucky to be working on it with Gun Media. I mean, that was such a fun project.
Oh man, I'm really happy for you because it's paying respect to the legacy of that fine film and to be able to just push it forward or just connect it and just add your little brick like that. It's
And
pretty awesome.
that's what excites me the most.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
I can add my, like you said, a little brick to the house there. Like if I can contribute anything to any of the legacies behind these films, I that's so thrilling to me, and it's inspiring, and it really keeps me going. Like I there's times where it's like I can't believe I worked on that, and I look back at it, I'm like I can't believe that happened, but I guess I got to worry about what I'm working on now. So
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
much time to reflect. But like, when you do, you sit back and you look at what you've done, and some of my friends, what they're doing, it's incredible, and it's inspiring, and
Oh yeah.
I'm thankful. I grew up as a horror fan. Just reading and watching movies, and I literally wore it on my sleeve. Like I
Yeah.
was always telling people I loved horror movies, and always kind of championing them, and just whatever.
Mhm.
Being a horror
Yeah,
fan.
and you're a good dude, and I think I believe in karma, so I think you always done what you've done with art for the right reasons, and it comes around. So that's why you get great contracts and you get to work on those amazing franchise over the years. But going back to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, what's your favorite sequel of that franchise? Except for the second one because that was Toby Hooper's but for the other
Except for the
ones,
second one, I was going
yeah,
to name the second one.
uh-huh,
Well, you know what? I've actually kind of grown to like part three a little bit. I
yeah,
mean,
it's fun,
I it's fun to revisit. I do kind of crave watching it.
yeah.
There's certain movies that you crave to kind of revisit. It's one of those movies like I might watch once every 2 years.
Oh yeah, okay.
But yeah, part three, well, the trailer is amazing. I mean, I could,
Oh yeah,
watch that over and over
Excalibur,
again.
and
It's
that
probably the best trailer for a horror movie. It's in the top three of
yeah.
best trailers ever.
That was an amazing idea that they had. And the chainsaw, it's iconic. It was iconic already, so making it
Yeah,
like a sword and
yeah,
Excalibur and an homage to a great film by John Borman,
yeah.
it was great, and you got to do a poster for that.
I did with Fangoria, which was very cool. And that was an official print too.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah,
was very nice. But yeah, that one's good. I like part three a lot, and I do like the remake actually, the 2004
yeah.
one. I think
What did you think of the latest one? The net book, the Netflix one?
I was a little so on it. I
Oh
felt
yeah.
like it didn't grab me as much as I would have liked it to.
Hmm.
Um, I
Was
thought
it
there was some cool scenes.
like in the bus?
Yeah, that was funny for sure
Was fun.
because that literally is the reality of our world now. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's on their phone.
And
But
also that was the only time that we got to have a real Chainsaw Massacre in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Like that
oh,
was a
right,
real massacre.
that's true. He's usually kind of more one on one.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole gang of influencer with their phones getting act off like that, that
Sure,
was
sure,
pretty
sure. Well, there you go.
satisfying.
There's that bit of commentary that
Yeah.
that movie needed, but like I don't know. It didn't stick with me so much as so I felt like maybe Leatherface himself. You know,
It was okay.
maybe I don't know. There was just something missing for me.
Yeah.
Um, but
But yeah, I get what you're saying because a lot of people hated it, and I personally loved it because I
I
was
didn't hate it.
expecting. No, 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 I know. But I really enjoyed it because I wasn't expecting much. It's like
Hmm.
the eighth or ninth of the
Yeah,
franchise, so
yeah, yeah. There
you
was
know.
some cool stuff in it for sure.
Mhm. But
And
that
it's
Sally, bringing back Sally was
right,
kind of a little bit like far-fetched.
right, right. Well, they're trying to connect it to the first one,
I
right? And
know.
it's
They
nine films
always
in.
trying.
It's like try to connect yourself to like someone from 90 years ago or
Yeah, yeah.
relative or like
It's
it's
hard. Like they
they
tried
try
also
to
with
make it work,
Texas
but
Chainsaw Treaty. They tried, with the house and Bill Moseley and Gunnar Hansen, all those cameos in the introduction. But
yeah, actually part three has some cool stuff in it. I like the fact that Bill Mosley's in it. But again,
yeah,
it's one I don't often revisit.
no,
I mean, if I'm sitting here overlooking the series as a whole,
we don't need to revisit that one.
yeah, yeah, it's sort of like there's ones that I've seen once and I got it and I'm good, and then there's others where I can't wait to see it again,
Mhm,
or I want to see it again because perhaps I missed something the first time around.
mhm, mhm.
So
But what about Black Christmas? Another 50 years old movie. This year
yes,
it's
50
it's
years
a
old.
landmark, 50 years old, a movie that influenced so many, a Canadian movie by an American director, but shot in Toronto, right?
Yeah,
And,
yeah, just outside of Toronto. Yeah.
and
Oh, in Toronto and just outside of Toronto. Sorry, pretty much in Toronto. Yeah.
and that spawned a whole franchise. There've been,
Yeah,
a few remakes, and but it spawned the whole, slasher subgenre
it
also.
did. That's right. It was a very influential film. Bob Clark sort of, was the first with the POV thing,
Yeah, it doesn't get
and
enough credit for it.
yeah, it doesn't. I know that like horror fans give it a lot of credit, and we're
Yeah.
the ones that are championing it, right? Like, we're the
Mhm.
ones saying, "Hey, like this is where Halloween came from. This is,
Mhm.
shots here and there." And yeah, no, Black Christmas will always be a timeless movie to watch. It still holds up, you
And it's a
know.
Christmas movie.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
perfect to watch it once
that's
a
right.
year.
And like it's if you're gonna make a movie,
Mhm.
do it around a holiday because people will watch it once a year,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
right? And
And
it doesn't
I,
seem to matter how bad or good the movie is. Someone's gonna like find it during the
mhm.
holiday. But it's one of those things. Like, yeah, Black Christmas is it is a classic in every sense of the word. And I love the fact that it is Canadian, and
Yep.
it's something that is a part of our film history here,
Yeah,
right?
we can totally be proud of that movie because
Yeah.
there's many the direction the filmmaking, the craft of the film itself, it's well shot and
Oh,
it's
it's
gorgeous
beautiful.
and great performances. Margot Kidder, Keir Dullea, that was a kind of high production for the time, that was
Yeah.
really well made.
Yeah, it is really well made. Everyone was like, just working at all pistons going, like it, and it's a timeless movie. I pretty much watch it every year, and I've gotten to see it in the theater many times. I've, got to see it with Art Hindle,
Oh yeah,
and
that's cool.
oh man, why is her name? Oh, the girl in the Lynn Griffith, sorry.
Yep.
Lynn Griffith. We've watched it with her, and
Mhm.
I've gotten to do some official artwork for it.
Yes, you did that cover,
Yeah,
and
the season's grievings. Yeah, yeah,
that
and
was
that was
the,
a lot
the
of fun.
the Rue Morgue edition. You also,
Yeah,
I
super
guess,
cool.
designed the whole booklet as well.
I mean, yeah, I was actually in the documentary that was on there too. George Mahalka. It's called
Yeah,
Legacy,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and George Mahalka, who
That's right.
he did My Bloody
Of
Valentine,
course.
the director. So, he was directing the documentaries on that release. And that was a really
Oh,
fun time because I was getting called to be a part of it. And, I was working with Anchor Bay on the artwork with Susan there. And, seriously, like it was, again, getting to do these types of things
pretty
is
pretty mind
what
blowing.
I'm in it for, yeah, like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
there,
yeah.
so I want to do it. And I love doing it. And so,
That's so cool.
yeah, and it's been fun.
did you get to enjoy the remakes? What did you think of the first remake?
Okay, now I didn't like it when it came out. I wasn't so much a fan of it, I'll be honest. I
Same
have been
here.
told by some seasoned horror fans that I should go back and revisit it. Okay.
Yep.
And now that it's 10 years later, probably now by now.
Uh-huh.
The new one, I don't think I was the target audience for that
No.
one.
And it was, they tried to do different things, but they didn't, capture the essence of the movie.
Sure.
They should have called it something else because
Right.
it's not really Black Christmas at all. When you're changing so much of the original, just change the title for God's sake.
I think so. Like,
Yeah,
like certain remakes, you don't want to see things done note for note, like the Psycho one. I
of
think
course.
that was a bad
Yeah,
example. But like, you do want to see. It's like when someone redoes a song or covers a song. You want to
mhm,
see their version of that song, and what did
totally.
they do to the original song to make it their own? And I feel like movies are the same thing
Mhm.
in a respect there. And
Yeah,
it's
exactly. It's a great analogy because when you don't recognize the song at all, it's wrong. But when it's like the same thing, I'll listen to the original. So there's a sweet spot to,
There is,
to
you're right.
find.
There's a fine line. Yeah. And so
But
some of these remakes, they've been able to do it, and some remakes
mhm,
just, for whatever reason just couldn't get across the finish line. That's all.
yeah,
I mean, who
exactly.
knows? It's
Mhm.
what it is, it's the name, right?
Yep.
And
It's a
it's
brand.
if anything, what these remakes are doing, hopefully, is showing new audiences, new people getting into movies. It just points a light to the original, and that's all I can
Yep.
hope is that.
Exactly. The original still exists, even when
Yeah,
the
yeah,
remake
they're not
is
going
bad.
away.
doesn't hurt the original at all. People are
Yeah,
complaining about remakes, but
no
sometimes
remake
we're
has made
lucky.
anyone for yeah, no remake has really made anyone forget about the original. Now there's been some good ones, like
Exactly.
the
The
Fly,
thing,
of
the
course.
fly, and those,
Everyone can go on and on, but
exactly.
there's been some good ones, but yeah, for the most part, uh,
Hmm.
I I'm for anyone who wants to try and make a movie. I'm for any artist who wants to try to get their art out there. I will watch a lot of stuff with that in mind.
Yeah, totally. I'll give people a chance because my dog is getting crazy. Um, but yes, you should revisit the first remake. It's a whole lot of fun, even though they went really, really, really far with the backstory with
Sure, sure,
Billy and his like sister or something.
sure.
It's
Yeah,
kind of crazy, but it's a whole lot of fun. When I
yeah,
watch it
yeah. Well,
again,
you know what? I will, because you're not the
it,
first person that's told me that. But
and and it
again,
is
I don't. I
funny.
10 years later now, like I'm also a different horror fan than I was
Yep.
10 years ago too, right? So you have those knee jerk reactions to remakes back then, right? Like,
Hmm.
oh man, like what do you mean Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Why are they remaking that? Like some movies are untouchable.
Hmm.
But you
Yep.
know,
Yep. Yep.
some are well done. So
Hmm. Yeah. 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 And so I
I
was
haven't
wondering,
seen one that I've liked better though.
a remake
I don't think so.
better? It's no, I don't think
I'm
so.
trying to think of one that I actually
Mhm.
like better than the
But
original.
there's a lot of people, younger kids that younger folks, I'll say, that like the remake of Texas Chainsaw better. I
Well,
know
I understand
people,
that.
but to me,
I
it's
can understand that for
yeah,
newer
yeah.
audiences because they're in a different
Hmm.
era, like
Yeah, but I
just their
wasn't
their
I wasn't
everything.
even born when Texas Chainsaw came out, and
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just when I watch it, it did something for me, and
Yeah.
then the more I learn about that film and its making and the era,
Yeah.
it's important to focus on what was already been seen before and what this movie brought to the table and
That's right.
and and then you can understand it and love it for what it was then and the influence it got since and
Yeah.
that's what is so cool to be a fan and a geek of all those things that with that knowledge you get to enjoy stuff that you watch a million times even more.
Yeah. 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 No, exactly. Like every time I watch Texas Chainsaw or even Black Christmas, I pick up something new
Yep. Hmm.
a detail that I didn't see before, or another little rabbit hole I want to go down when I am finished watching the movie.
Uh-huh.
And those types of things I love. I love that kind of attention to detail.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally with you on that, and it's great. So, last little question for you because I have to let you go with your day. But thanks for taking the time to chat with me about those movies. It's
Yeah, of
awesome, and
course.
it's always fun to
Yeah.
chat with you. So what's on your plate? What are you working on right now? What can tell the world about
Sure,
your
sure. Well,
endeavors?
yeah, no, I just finished doing that box set for Stephen King,
Oh
the three
yeah,
novels. So
that's
I've
pretty
just
rad.
finished two more books for him,
Nice.
for Random House, and they're coming out, I think, early next year. So I can say that I've worked on them, and I can say that it's the Stand and Night Shift. The
Oh,
publishers actually mentioned that, so I think I can
pretty
mention that.
cool.
I don't think I'm speaking out of school here. So the next two are coming out next year sometime, and then yeah, they want to do some more titles.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm pretty excited
Stephen
about
King.
that. And then I just finished working on a couple of new 4K releases with Arrow,
Okay, that's gonna
and
come out next year.
yeah,
Like
I think so at
great
this point
films.
next year. And then yeah, I just finished one with Lionsgate too, so another 4K.
That's pretty cool.
So
Do
I
you have
feel like
any exhibit coming up or anything like another book or a reissue of your book or
Not right in the moment. No, I don't have any convention plans for like the rest of December. No, but like yeah,
next
definitely
year?
want to do Horror Hound. I'm doing Texas Frightmare,
Uh-huh,
and
that's
I'm
cool.
doing actually, yeah, I'm going to be doing Monster Palooza for the first time.
Oh, that's great. It looks like a
So
great convention.
yeah, yeah. So I'm pretty excited to be going there as a attend as a sorry as a vendor, and
Mhm.
other than that, yeah, just kind of like hopefully there's a couple other projects that I've been approached for, just they haven't come to fruition just yet. But again,
Okay.
it's really exciting, man. Like there's always something in my inbox that's
Yeah, yeah.
gets me excited,
Oh
and
man,
I
that's
can't wait
great.
to start on some of this stuff, and I can't wait to show some of the stuff that I've been working on too.
Yeah,
A lot of
sometimes it takes a
times,
while, and
it
you have
really
to wait
does.
till they announce the thing like 6 months later or a year.
Yeah. And in between client stuff, I'm trying to do my own stuff for conventions because I
Mhm,
always like to have one or two releases for that. And
mhm,
so, yeah, just over the holidays, I'm going to be finishing up some of these projects I mentioned, and
mhm.
then just starting on some stuff that I can put out myself. And
Great. So
I,
people, you have to follow Gary Ghoulish Gary Pullin on his social if you want to
that's right.
have updates on his new stuff. So again, Gary, always a blast to talk to you,
Yeah,
and
you too, Kristof.
I
Thank
hope
you.
you have great holidays, and hope to see you again in Montreal, maybe at Fantasia next year.
I hope so too, man. That was a lot of fun seeing you there, and I was happy to be back. It'd been a long time, so yeah,
It's not
I'm
that
hoping to
far
come
from
back.
it's not that far from Toronto, right?
No, not at all. No, I don't mind the travel at all. It was excellent, and thanks to you and everyone at Fantasia that weekend. Honestly, it was one to remember for sure.
Great. So take care, man, and let's chat
All
soon.
right, man. Talk soon. Take care,
Cheers.
bud.